Hello and welcome to this special edition regarding the visits paid by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to both the Saudi Arabia and Bahrain for today, and meeting with the Bahraini King Mohamed bin Isa, as well as the meeting that took place between His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in Jeddah with the Saudi Crown Prince and the Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman. We will be shedding more light on the visits conducted by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the topics discussed within those visits, and to be shedding more light on those important activities by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. I'm honored to be having with me in the studio Engineer Mohamed, Attaia, the Energy Affairs Specialist. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight on the Nile TV International and this special edition.
Thank you.
Anytime. First of all, how do you see the importance of those visits for today, the second day of Eid al-Fitr, the Nasr Bayram, to Saudi Arabia, to Bahrain, and before that there were visits as well to Qatar and the United Arab Emirates? How do you see the messages of solidarity and support given by Egypt and the Egyptian people and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi himself to the GCC countries?
As you said, it is a message not only delivered from His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, but also delivered from all Egyptians, that we are one unity with the GCC countries, especially, as you said, in Eid al-Fitr.
Yes.
It is a different occasion, and all the messages has been delivered from these two visits, confirmed that Egypt has played a different role and special role with its neighborhood countries, UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and also Qatar in this tough time. But I would like to highlight the main message, or one of the main messages during these visits, that
Yes.
the stability of the Strait of Hormuz and the stability of the routes of trade is one of the important parameters that Egypt highlighted, because Egypt not only delivered like a political message, but it is an economic and energy affair message, that all of the routes and choke points like Strait of Hormuz shall be stable and shall be protected by all over the region, because as you know, and as you see that the consequences of the instability in this region, because of the imbalance between the demand and the consumption of the energy of all the commodities, will affect on the different countries. So His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi confirmed that Egypt will play this role until this conflict will be ended soon.
Yes, you've mentioned, Engineer Mohamed Attaia, the importance of the timing, because we have seen the visits by President al-Sisi to the GCC countries like the United Arab Emirates and Qatar at the end of Ramadan, and then for the second day of Eid al-Fitr, or the Nasr Bayram. So the only day missing was the first day of Eid al-Fitr, where President al-Sisi spent the morning inaugurating the monorail and spending time with the children of the families of the martyrs of Egypt, for both the police and the army. How do you see the importance of the timing, especially during those tough times?
The timing mentioned that, or confirmed that, His Excellency Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, our President, will not only pay his efforts for spreading the peace within the region, but he will be ready anytime for these kings and princes for these countries to be like with each other during this tough time.
Yes.
But I'd like to highlight that this tough time, not only in Eid and after the ending of Ramadan, but also after the targeting of the critical positions and the critical locations, not only in oil and gas facilities, but as you know today, the nuclear plants,
Yes.
which is an important change in the conflict scene. That's why the timing is very critical and important.
Yes, and I'm honored to be having with me over the phone to be continuing the coverage for the activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and paying visits to Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Ambassador Mohamed Higazi, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and this special edition.
My pleasure, Ahmed, and my greetings for Happy Eid for you and for your honorable
Mohamed
guest.
Higazi.
Yes, with you, Ahmed. Hello. Hello.
Ambassador Mohamed Higazi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ahmed.
Thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International. First of all, how do you see the main objectives of the visits paid by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to both Saudi Arabia and Bahrain today and for the past couple of days to the United Arab Emirates and Qatar as well?
Well, Ahmed, this is a very important and timely visit in this very important and crucial moment in the history of the region and the Gulf states in particular, so that the visit, which has already started by many communication and calls, and then moving to both Manama and Saudi Arabia after completing another tour a couple of days ago to Doha and United Arab Emirates, to Qatar and the United Arab Emirates, expressing of support and solidarity, I think is a key pillar of the Egyptian position towards the development in the Gulf region, not only to condone what has happened by Iran to attack civilian facilities and oil and gas installations in the Gulf, but also to the escalation that has threatened peace and security in the region, particularly in the Gulf. So Egypt, through the visit made by the President and the tour also made by Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati and his attendance the day before yesterday to Riyadh, summit meeting of certain regional countries, being from the Arab region or the Islamic countries, is an expression of Egypt's belief that the national security of the Gulf is integrated to the Egyptian national security. And when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi says that the Gulf security is a red line for Egypt's national security, he means that, and now during his tour he's supporting this notion and expressing Egypt's willingness to support the Gulf region by all means it requires. And I'm sure that this manifestation of unity is a key to the future stability of the Gulf and the Middle East, where Egypt and the Gulf countries and the peace-loving nations surrounding us can create together. Maybe we can talk first about the first step, which is Egypt's full support to the security of the Gulf. The second is a call to unite the security approach by creating an Arab force, which we've been demanding for many years. And third, maybe to talk about peace and security structure in the Middle East, where all countries have to adhere, as Europe did after Helsinki 1975, adhere to a structure of peace and stability in the region, where security is observed to all, not only to Israel, as always been the case.
Mr. Mohamed Higazi, Mr. Ambassador, of course, we have seen the bilateral ties between Egypt and Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and the rest of the GCC countries. The bilateral relations have evolved under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for the past 10 or 12 years. How would you assess the improvement in the bilateral ties between Egypt and the GCC countries under the tenure of President Sisi, and how do you see the future of relations, especially during those tough times?
The presence of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi today in Riyadh and Bahrain and before in Doha and UAE is a clear manifestation of his determination and Egypt's belief in the unity of both the Gulf and Egypt and the Middle East security structure. And time has come that we transform this belief in unity and mutual security to a meaningful mechanism, being it military or political coordination, to also call after we secure our interior and our borders and our countries to a larger context peace and stability will prevail. We've been following Ahmed many wars in Gaza. For many years, it repeats itself. In Lebanon, for many years, it repeats itself. Israel believes that it will acquire security through force, has proven to be failure many times. Time has come that Israel peace treaty, Jordan, Wadi Arab, peace treaty with Israel is the key. Peace is the key for stability, not using force, because we will keep using it. And what Iran is saying today and for many years, that they want an agreement that will not allow us and Israel to attack it again. So the first and the first is for stability. Everybody is securing its border, and everybody is seeking cooperation, and this is cooperation. That will happen only if we follow the example of Europe. We established last in Helsinki 1975 a declaration of principles. Everybody will adhere to those notions and principles, and then we will move a mechanism that will have more committees that will cover all aspects of cooperation in the region, being it security, being it investment, being it water, being it energy, so that it is for the first time will seek the benefit of all its countries, not only the benefit of Israel.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador, on the diplomatic fronts, how do you see the efforts of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati, as you previously mentioned, to be de-escalating the tensions? We have seen several visits conducted and paid for by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and by Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati to the GCC countries and to the rest of the world as well, to be de-escalating the tensions in the region. How do you see those efforts and the potential results of those visits?
Ahmed, we've been following together the efforts made by Egypt before the escalation and before the eruption of the current tension and war, where Egypt was in communication with all parties and still is, with Iran, with the United States and the envoy Kushner and Steve Witkoff, and we've been also talking to the Secretary General of the International Atomic Agency, and we've been dealing with Iran, and we're trying also with our Gulf states to observe diplomatic discussion and to support Oman in its quest to attain the goals of the negotiating table. But unfortunately, things went wrong and the decision was made to attack Iran. Now, Egypt is continuing its effort. It's in ongoing communication, as we've been following today with the Gulf states, but we're still opening channels with Iran and asking to refrain from attacking its neighbor. And we understood also the strategic danger of leaving the Gulf states in the absence of any important support, and we've been promoting also that peace requires security, and security has to be grown at home. There is no security that will be lent to you by foreign forces that will have its own agenda and its own strategy. As we have seen, the decision was made not even with consulting the Gulf states. So the Gulf and Egypt has to seek the creation of a self-reliant kind of security that will lead afterwards to prove to everybody in a final, maybe, agreement. We need truly not only a peace and security structure, we need an Arab regional force that will defend our region by ourselves for our aims and goals. At the same time, we seek, with the support of the United Nations and the international community, some meaningful mechanism to observe peace in the Middle East based on realities of progress, of development, of civil use of nuclear facilities, as well as moving the region from the mindset of war to use of force to the mindset of cooperation and agreement. An agreement that should contain all the aspects, being it Palestine, Gaza, South Lebanon, and Iranian security, as well as Israel security. If we can successfully coordinate all those dimensions in one Middle Eastern structure, then we are moving ahead. How many wars did we witness in Lebanon? How many wars did we witness since 1948 in Palestine and Gaza? Israel has to be redirected towards a livelihood in the region, about being constructive, and the United States should not use Israel as a tool of destruction, but a tool of coexistence, of lending technology support to the future of the Middle East.
Mr. Ambassador, you mentioned a very significant point, which is the Arab Unified Regional Force. Do you think that the enthusiasm could be increased to be having such a force after the attacks that we have seen by Iran targeting the American bases within the GCC countries?
The main withdrawal, Ahmed, of what has happened is very clear. After the Iraqi invasion to Kuwait, we spoke about an Arab regional force that will protect the interests of all Arab countries in one context, but we didn't. Today, we lend our security to the others, and the others have their own strategy. They allowed Qatar to be attacked by Israel. They took a decision without any consultation to the region to attack Iran, imposing a security threat and a huge danger which we are living in now, understanding that they have their own global strategy, which did not really correspond to our needs for a stable region and security. So time has come that we understand that only through self-reliance, only through our own understanding of our interests and the creation of our own tools that will protect our own interests, that we can create a Middle East that we live in stability and peace. Otherwise, we'll be taken to another war. Yesterday, we stopped the war with Iran with the same mentality and mindset, being it American or Israeli. Give it 2 weeks, 4 years, and you'll be again in the same dilemma. It hasn't taken us from June last year to today that we witnessed 2 destructive wars without any change. I mean, there is no way that you gain out of destruction. We are putting the international community and the energy security to a huge danger. And we in Africa and the Middle East, the ones who are paying the history price, not only in Japan or in Europe, no, it's about us, weak economies and struggling nations in Africa who want to move further, while the others are here in our region, destroying our future and putting us in dangerous situations, using a tool called Israel. And time has come that it's enough. And we start our own structure. Our leaders in Europe have a huge experience in Helsinki 1975 rules. We work with them we try, because we are their southern neighbors. They have to invest in the stability of the Middle East, and we have also to talk with the United States in a firm conviction that you strategic decision that affects us without being consulted and we did not care about our future, being it economic, political, or security. So time has come that you set aside, allow us to protect our region and to run our future the way we see it suitable to prevailing peace, stability, and future cooperation among nations who believe in the same principles that we will adhere to and which we hope we will declare in an international conference, and all the peace-loving nations and the United Nations will come to support this agreement, in which we will transfer, I hope in the future, to a mechanism that has committees that covers all aspects of cooperation in the Middle East. I hope, Ahmed, that we have tried to say something useful and beneficial this time. First, supporting the Gulf. Second, moving to an Arab creation of an Arab force, security force. Third, to call of a regional structure that will contain us all for those who will believe in principles similar to Helsinki 1975.
Yes, Ambassador Mohamed Higazi, the former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International. Engineer Mohamed Attaia, I would like to focus on the possibility of having an Arab regional unified force to be protecting not just the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, but the Arab world in general, because we have seen attacks by Iran against Syria, for example, against Jordan and Iraq as well. Do you think that those attacks, this ongoing war for the past 3 or 4 weeks, could be changing the mindset of some of the Arab leaders to be having more efforts to be having this Arab regional force?
I think this idea which has been mentioned before by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi since like 10 years.
Yes.
Because the vision is clear for him that the conflict will be done and the conflict will be shown in the region and in different regions, but especially in our region, because as you know, what Egypt did in Gaza conflict is critical, and its role to spread the peace in this region is very crucial and very important.
Yes.
And this kind of ideas has been neglected or has been like rejected by different countries, and not in direct rejection, but the potential of these countries to perform this idea is very, very low. But I think the consequences of rejecting this idea,
even after the war, even after the damages that we can see now,
because I see, yes, but because they are not the key players in their countries. The US evolving in their decisions, especially in this kind of decisions, is eliminating this idea from their brain and their future plan. But I think if they are if they have like a clear vision for the future and they want to avoid this kind of conflict and this kind of consequences on their countries, they have to go through this idea, put their hand with our hands, with all the GCC countries, all the Arab countries, all the Islamic countries, to avoid this kind of conflict, this kind of the damage in our infrastructure, in our countries, which will affect directly on our citizens in this region.
As you mentioned, the role of Egypt to be ending the aggression by the Israeli occupation forces against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Egypt had a great role in having this ceasefire alongside the United States of America in the month of November. Do you think that the same role of Egypt could be replicated through the visits, through the efforts of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati to be ending this current war?
I think this one is different because the Gaza conflict was affect directly in Egypt, and Egypt is one of the main evolving countries in this conflict. But the current conflict between US and Iran Egypt is not evolving by geographical location or like any kind of يعني any kind of attack or defend. Egypt also trying to use its power, its diplomatic power, to stop the war. But what I would like to mention that Egypt has playing or is playing a critical role in this diplomatic power.
Yes.
But what is surprising me, what Europe has been done since the war is starting. Europe and its main countries like Germany and different countries in Europe doesn't use the diplomatic power of what Egypt use. Especially that Europe is also has been impacted and affected by this war directly, because as you know, since the Russia and Ukraine war, all of the Europe countries stopped use the Russian gas.
Yes.
So they are relying on the gas from GCC countries and some Asian countries, but they are affected by the increase of the gas prices. So they have economic disadvantage and economic instability because of this war. So I would like to recommend from these great countries that please play your role, play your function. Egypt is not an evolving country, but it uses the diplomatic power and the high diplomatic power to stop this war. Please do this kind of powerful actions to avoid spreading the conflict and to avoid the instability of the economy around the globe.
Engineer Mohamed Attaia, you mentioned a very important point that Egypt has undertaken under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for the past 6 or 7 years. Because in the past week, during the month of Ramadan, we have seen statements by President al-Sisi stating that Egypt had to go through the coronavirus pandemic in 2019, 2020. And then, as you mentioned, the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, the Israeli aggression against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, and now the war between the United States, Israel, and Iran. Domestically, how did you see the response of Egypt, of the Egyptian president, of the Egyptian leadership, of the Egyptian government, of the Egyptian people to those global setbacks?
I think, as you said, all of these conflicts and all of these events has been affected directly, for sure, in the stability of economy in Egypt. But I think that's this is our role to spread the awareness of these consequences on the economy and the day-to-day life for all citizens. But Egypt currently is starting to play proactive actions, like protecting some commodities and protecting some materials for long term. We would like to mention that the food security is one of the main pillars in Egypt since starting from 2020 after the Russia and Ukraine war. And especially in energy, Egypt is trying to increase the infrastructure investment, the foreign investment to increase the oil and gas production. And also I would like to highlight that the vision of increasing the green energy percentage in our energy mix is very important during this time, because as you see, the energy prices are very volatile, and as Prime Minister said regarding the numbers, but the energy bill has been increased from the last month to this month about triple, because the gas prices has been increased around from 80 to 100%, and also especially during this tough time and after the closure of the Qatar facilities. And as you know, Qatar is one of the most important producing countries of the gas, and the most important LNG terminal producing in the world.
Yes.
So that's what happened in the gas, and also in the oil products after the increase of the the crude oil prices, and also the products of the gasoline and jet oil and diesel. This affect directly on the the stability of the budget, the government budget in this year. But in my opinion, working together, the government and all of the researchers and all of the organizations to be like one unit to avoid the conflict consequences is one of the main important role which has been or should be spreaded and in the awareness sessions during this tough time.
Yes, and this means on the regional, on the global level, we have a certain balance, because we have spoken about the setbacks that we have seen globally, like the coronavirus pandemic, the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, and the aggression by the Israeli occupation forces against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, and now the war by the United States and Israel on one side and Iran on the other side. But through all of this, Egypt has maintained a balance in relationships between Egypt and the United States, Egypt and Iran, Egypt and the GCC countries, like we did see today, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Iraq, all of those countries. We have maintained this balance. How do you see this success during such tough times?
I see this is an important success because evolving Egypt in this conflict, or make like we are in the US side or in the Iranian side, will put Egypt in a critical role, which could affect on the stability of the trade inside Egypt and outside Egypt. So the diplomatic relations, what Egypt performed during last decade to have friends from different and alliance from different countries, from different regions, is very important. I'd like also to highlight that the relation between Egypt and your countries, as you know, the last 5 years, I think this is the most highest level of cooperation between Egypt and Europe.
Have elevated the bilateral relationship between Egypt and the European Union to a strategic partnership.
Yeah, yes. Not only in the economic partnership, but also in the political and diplomatic point of view. That's why Egypt is stable. That's why Egypt is trying to absorb each event consequences. I know that all these events have been affected directly on the economy and the citizen life and the feeling of stability of the economic side, but the other side, the stability of the country itself and the security of the country itself is the main highlight in this recent decade.
Yes, and finally, Engineer Mohamed Attaia, you've mentioned the key word here, which is the stability. How do you see the internal stability of Egypt, the internal factors that we have here in the country, to be having this external stability on the regional and the global fronts, diplomatically, economically, and politically? And we have seen the statements of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for the past couple of weeks, focusing on the security, the stability of Egypt, which is based on the unity of the Egyptians, on the stability and the understanding of the Egyptians.
You have mentioned the answer, the unity of the Egyptians. I think even all the mentioned critical things and critical conflicts which have been done during the recent 5 years or recent decade.
Yes.
But the Egyptian people are one unit. The Egyptian people is not complaining with that much of the increasing of the prices, increasing of the life cost. But
they have awareness. They can see what is going on.
Yeah, we have to increase this awareness. We have to increase and keep in touch with Egyptians with all consequences and make it like crystal clear image, because all the consequences have been affected directly on the economy of Egypt. As you know, Egypt is one of the main importing countries in different commodity, not only in oil and gas, but also in different chemical and different food commodities. That's why we are targeting and we are recommending focusing on the exporting opportunities. So what we can do today, and this works for all Egyptians and the government also, is working on our economy, working in our development for different commodities, trying to increase the export, trying to decrease the importing elements to avoid this kind of conflict. We have many lessons learned from this war and from this conflict. Try to make use of this lesson learned and keep trying and keep updated by all of the protection layers which could be maintained and could be utilized during the future.
Yes, Engineer Mohamed Attaia, the political analyst for today and the energy affairs specialist. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and this special edition.
Thank you for you. Thank you.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of this special edition of the coverage for the visits paid for by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Saudi Arabia and Bahrain for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.